Welcome back. You're still watching the Afia Morning Show this Friday. It is TGIF finally, but it is also a quite significant day, of course, across Nigeria and even down here in the States following developments yesterday. I'm Nathalie, and Oji Wachuko is here as well. Oji, good morning.
Hi, good morning. How you doing?
Fantastic. And you?
I'm just here chilling, and thank God it's Friday, by the way. So we call it pre-weekend, But what bothers me is I'm just trying to, wrap my head around what could actually be in the offing for APC in their revamping, nature of. I don't understand what's happening, but let's see as the news unfolds what's going to happen in coming days. By the way, because I don't know what these dudes are planning. I just hope they won't take Nigeria by storm. Well,
if we draw some inferences, one would start to think of what's about to happen, but we know today is quite significant as well. We'll head to that conversation much later on the show this morning. Dr. Fyneface Dumnamene Fyneface, Executive Director, Youth and Environmental Advocacy Center, YEAC-Nigeria, joins us from Rivers. Dr. Fyneface, so good to have you. Good morning.
Thank you.
All right, great to have you as well. And before we came live, you were talking about how significant Friday is, that if you don't go to the bank, you will not be able to go to the bank any longer. But thank God for mobile transfers, like you said. How about you tell that story again to our viewers?
Yeah, it's important, in the days past, on a Friday like this, you have to queue up in the bank, look for money. Without that, you cannot have money. But now because of technology, you can do a lot of transactions on your phone. Except when you want to withdraw so much money, bigger amount of money, and you need it in cash before you cannot go to the bank. So you cannot enjoy your Friday, and thank God it's Friday, enjoy your weekend with your phone and your bank right with you in your house and wherever you find yourself. That's the power of technology.
That's right, and a great way to start as well. Hopefully we have more credits than debits this weekend. All right, away from there, now let's head to our newspaper headlines, beginning with a New Telegraph. And the top story here. OBJ Jonathan Gowon absent as Council of State approves Amupiton new INEC chair. Police suspend enforcement of tinted glass permits. CDS to judiciary don't water down military discipline. Bill for creation of Ibadan State passes second reading. Naiti oil theft vandalism cost Nigeria 4.9 trillion naira in 2 years. Importers in dilemma as 1.4 trillion naira worth of rice trapped in Benin Republic. Senate rejects Christian genocide claim set to meet U.S. Congress. Away from there, Kalu moves to tackle extreme poverty and empower vulnerable Nigerians as bill passes first reading. Defections, we've gone through this path before, we're not disturbed, PDP says. Ex-Nigerian High Commissioner to UK Christopher Kolade dies at 92. Tinubu others pay tribute. On Daily Trust, Amupiton and his records, how he should lead INEC according to parties. Israel, Hamas signed Gaza ceasefire deal. FCT Council withdraws TV, radio levy. How the new income tax will affect you. Tinubu pardons Vatsa, Farouk Lawan, others. And Reps probe $18 billion spent on refineries. APC disqualifies 2 Ekiti governorship aspirants. Dissolves Enugu Exco. On The Nation, Amupiton's nomination as INEC chairman gets support. State pardon for Herbert Macaulay, Vatsa, Ogoni leaders Lawan, others. Diplomat, business icon, media mogul Kolade dies at 92. Work begins at Calabar end of coastal highway. Terrain not impediment. APC NWC disqualifies Kayode Ojo from Ekiti primary. On The Punch, Amupiton faces tough test as new INEC chair. Opposition warns against partisanship, demands urgent reforms. Tinubu APC defend appointments, urge fairness, credibility. Police back down on tainted glass enforcement. Tinubu Oshun mourn as Christopher Kolade dies. National Assembly probes NNPCL over $18 billion refinery spending. Tinubu clears 959 for national honors. Federal government moves to audit varsities over TET fund grants. And lastly here, Tinubu pardons Herbert Macaulay, Vatsa, Farouk Lawan, 172 others.
Daily Global. Herbert Macaulay, 174 others get Tinubu's presidential pardon. Former diplomat Christopher Kolade dies at 92. House NSCDC strengthen front against illegal mining. NDIC CIBN strengthen collaboration in emerging issues in the financial sector. Nigeria FinTech powerhouse. Money Point set to launch second edition of Nigeria's informal economy report in Abuja. NDLEA clarifies position on cannabis oil export report. Global NCC on broadband infrastructure protection. YEAC pledges massive infrastructure shift in FCT by 2026. Showore to lead Free Nnamdi Kanu Now protest October 20 in Abuja. Moving over to Nigerian News Direct. Integrity, neutrality guided my choice of Amopetan as INEC chair, says Tinubu. Ekiti 2026 APC disqualifies Kayode Ojo for governorship primary. And this one says 10-year ban on strike action in free trade zones subsidies attributed to NEPSA. Tinubu Ayoko others mourn AIDS broadcaster Dr. Christopher Kolade. Moving over to Daily Independent. Opposition others set agenda for new INEC chairman Amopetan. Tinubu pardons Macaulay, Farouk, Lawan, Vatsa, 172 others. Council approves 1% FAAC deduction for police trust fund. And thus says reenactment of Police Trust Fund Act. OK's Bill Gates, 959 others for national honors. Certificate scandal. Kesa asks Enugu AG to prosecute ex-minister Naji. Tinubu may delay 2026 budget presentation over 2025 performance report. We are concerned over defection from our party but not deterred, says PDP. Or theft sabotage cost Nigeria $3.3 billion in 2 years, attributed to NEITI. Independence marks 70 years of free primary education. Akande blames military takeover for decay in education system, says 1955 free education was stunted by federal control. Naji urges one teacher, one computer for primary schools. And lastly, writing on Daily Independence, Tinubu Shawolu mourn Christopher Kolade. Moving over to the last one right here, Nigerian Tribune. Why I picked Amopetan as INEC chair, says Tinubu. Council of State approves his choice. Bill Gates, 958 others get national honors. New police trust fund repeal reenactment coming. Insecurity in Nigeria not driven by religion, Senate clarifies. We will continue to prioritize citizens' needs in your budget, says Makinde. UNICEF, the Dawn Commission, NLC comment government. Ekiti governor primary, APC disqualifies Kayode Ojo, sacks Enugu State Working Committee to conduct a public hearing for amendment of party constitution. Osun LG's withheld funds case adjourned. Court extends order freezing bank accounts. Osun AG's council opposes PDP APC joiner applications. APC chieftain Oralusi joins Osun governorship race, and Tinubu leads tribute as Christopher Kolade dies at 92. His life and times. And lastly, Tinubu pardons Herbert Macaulay, Vatsa, Lawan, grants amnesty to 82 inmates.
Thank you, Audrey, for those headlines. I mean, major stories making the news today: the presidential pardon and clemency, and not to forget the emergence of Amopetan as the new INEC chair. Dr. Fyneface, these headlines cascade across our dailies this morning. How would you like to react to any of them? Let's begin with the presidential pardon and clemency. Let's start from there and what this means essentially as the president is seen pardoning individuals, both living and dead persons. What's your take?
Yeah, I think it's a welcome development to a very large extent, having Mr. President exercise his constitutional powers of the prerogative of mercy to those who may have been wrongly tried, wrongly accused, or rightfully accused and also rightfully tried and convicted. So Mr. President is seeing these potentials in those who are still living, and then in appreciation of the contributions of those who are passed on, Mr. President is pardoning them so that wherever they are, it will seem as if at least they are recognized and the growth they play are also recognized. So this pardon clears them of every wrongdoing for which they were accused. And having been pardoned, to a very large extent, it doesn't take away the fact that you committed a crime for those who committed a crime. You see, on that list, we also have the Ogoni 9 and the Ogoni 4, making the Ogoni 13. For the Ogoni 9, we are still asking for exoneration whereby you clear them of the criminal charge for which they were charged. This is similar to what we expect Mr. President to do in the case of Afia Morning Show. Afia Morning Show was tried and convicted by the colonial government. But then I do not know whether the Nigerian government today, which wasn't in place as at the time that Afia Morning Show was tried and convicted, has the power to pardon someone that was tried and convicted by the British government under colonial rule. Yeah. So it's something that I think Mr. President has done. I believe the days ahead people will look into some of these things. But since he is someone that has passed on his late, blessed memory, a lot of people may just let that be. But it is important to know whether the Nigerian government, Mr. President, has power to pardon someone who was convicted by the colonial administration. But then, congratulations to all of them who have benefited from this. It is for them to go and see no more, especially those who are still living.
Yes, about Macaulay pardoning actually brought buzz all around, right? Because everybody's asking the question, why pardoning Herbert Macaulay, right? Yeah, he stamped his feet yesteryears fighting the British and all that. But the pardoning, haven't we celebrated him as a hero already, being on our ₦1 notes and all that? So the question is, what could actually be the reason why President Tinubu is pardoning a Herbert Macaulay? Is this framing? What could it be?
I think the main reason why Mr. President pardoned him is to appreciate his contribution to Nigeria today, to the present day Nigeria. He is one of the forebearers and one of the leaders, one of the nationalists of this country. And it is a way of appreciating him that even if he has passed on and is of blessed memory, in appreciation of the contribution that he made to Nigeria's independence and development of the pre-colonial Nigeria, and there is the need for that sense of conviction to go up him, so that wherever he is, and even his family, will not be feeling that their father was convicted and Mr. President did not live out it, despite the contribution of the nationalists to the nation's development and what we have today as Nigeria. And you also see, the kind of government we are running today is a kind of bureaucratic government of the elders. So the elders are seated over this matter. The elders are looking into issues. The elders are pardoning the elders and even pardoning those who have contributed in the past. So that is what you have here. So Mr. President has his reasons to amend certain wrongs and package certain things to look good as a way of bringing many Nigerians who have contributed one way or the other into the fold of the country and integrate them into the society. Without that, then one very key pardon on that list that calls for attention is Farouk Lawal. We remember the case of Farouk Lawal and what happened, the former House of Arrest member. How he was accused of dollars, starting I think of $10 or where all of those bribery taken. These are not something that I think Mr. President should have done, but maybe in his own wisdom, he feels that let him do it. Otherwise, if someone was accused of corruption, the person was tried and rightfully convicted, I don't think it was nice for Mr. President to pardon, especially Farouk Lawal, because when that is done, it may encourage other people to get corrupt, take bribes, and do other things that are ethical to the head of the nation, knowing fully well that alive or dead, they will be pardoned by Mr. President.
I mean, that's a good point that you've raised, Dr. Fyneface. And let's look at Maman Vatsa as well, a situation that we've discussed on the show. Now, just to refresh our memories, the Major General was accused of treason in 1985 and subsequently executed in 1986 by the military government led by General Ibrahim Babangida. Now, we understand that the family has had to live with what has happened to him and what happened to him those years. How significant is this pardon for his family. Shouldn't the presidency have done something more significant, perhaps some kind of compensation for such trauma over the years? Essentially, is this enough? Just saying that he's been forgiven, he's already not here with us, he's already dead. So what should have been done as an addition to this clemency?
It's very significant and it's very important that he made that list, because this is someone that was accused under military administration. And the person that carried out the acts under him is still alive. IBB is still alive. And I think that beyond the clemency now granted, it is important because this was something of alleged treasonable offense that passed through a military tribunal. It never passed through the regular court process whereby fair hearing was given. So in a way, Mr. President can go beyond, if the family demands, to have a retrial of this very case of Batsa, so that we can have a system whereby a lot of people will testify, or a lot of people involved in, I said, the IBD, that is a lot of people are passed on. So it may be challenging to really be able to subject this to judicial review and then be able to quash those charges against them. This is very similar to what we are calling for the Ogoni 9, because they were tried under a military tribunal, they were not given fair hearing, and they were horribly killed. The difference between the Ogoni 9 and the Batsa case is that the Ogoni 9 were killed by hanging, but Batsa was killed by firing squad. So these are the challenges we have. So Mr. President can go beyond that, knowing that Batsa played national politics to ensuring that he is properly compensated and his family is taken care of.
When the news broke, hope started to rise that this would also extend to the detained IPOB leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, when they heard that the presidency was going to exercise his rights, presidential pardon and the rest. Many Southeasterners started to wonder if Mazi Nnamdi would visit. Did you have similar hopes? And what do you think guided the selection of those who were granted this prerogative?
Yeah, I think there is a committee set up that is in charge of selecting those who Mr. President should grant a prerogative of mercy. The committee have taken time to review everything. I did not see Mazi Nnamdi Kanu coming into this picture because he has not been convicted yet. He has been accused of some crimes, including the treasonable crime related to a felony related to the case of Batsa. But no court of competent jurisdiction has made a pronouncement. So whatever allegation against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu as we speak, it is still an allegation. It is a suspect that cannot be substantiated or pronounced by any court to say he was guilty of all of this. So prerogative of mercy cannot apply at this point in time. But what can apply at this point in time, based on what OT told us, is Mr. President can just say, okay, negotiate with the leaders of the Southeast and then release him just release him and then ask him to go and see no more. But that very aspect of the application of prerogative of mercy is not yet necessary here, because there hasn't been any pronouncement by a court of competent jurisdiction that he is guilty of those crimes for which he is accused. But I know that for the days of the living and the dead to come this way, the day of Nnamdi Kanu will surely come and everybody will be paid. But one thing that I must say that is delaying the release of Nnamdi Kanu is the fact that he was earlier accused of jumping bail when he was placed on bail, to the point that he moved to Kenya, from where we learned he was extradited from, and then there was this issue of him being forced back to the country because when he jumped the bail, there was an escalation of the issues of which he's accused again. So they look for a way to get him into the country. So they are not trying to have full assurances from the leaders of the Southeast and even from Nnamdi Kanu that if he is free this time, that he will not go back to those things for which he was arrested and detained. And I think when all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted, Nnamdi Kanu will regain his freedom.
Okay, I'm also talking about Nnamdi Kanu. Daily Global showed it to lead Free Nnamdi Kanu now protest October 20 in Abuja. Yeah, he's been vocal about this, taking his protest straight to Aso Rock, a peaceful protest, by the way. And so many big wigs and individuals are backing, in the person of Atiku Abubakar too. Like he's backing this peaceful protest, and he's also calling out to extending the hands to some Southeastern governors to join suit. Also, Peter Obi. But my question is, right, would this hold water? Are we trying to shoot ourselves on the foot again? How would this pan out Is it the right way to go at this point in time, taking this peaceful protest to Aso Rock, demanding freeing Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? Well, also he cited his health conditions that yes, at this point in time, he is not meant to be in detention. He needs to be released to go, fix his health. What's your take on this?
Yeah, also my take on this would be that why protest is the constitutional right of every citizen of Nigeria as enshrined in the 1999 Constitution of the Republic of Nigeria as amended. It is important for us to use it rightly. But then this protest is not out of place because it is still like part of what we are doing here to call for Nnamdi Kanu's release. It's part of what we are saying here. So I think the protest can hold. It should be peaceful. A letter should be transmitted by Shore to the Inspector General of Police, and then informing him of the protest, and then police should provide security, DSS should provide security. And then they should march, to the Aso Rock Villa where they plan to go, and then call on Mr. President to do this. But to a very large extent, I think that while there is political angle to the release of Nnamdi Kanu, there is the judicial angle, which means that the presidency cannot interfere in a matter that is ongoing in court. Remember, this court process is not an incarceration in such a way that maybe someone cannot extricate his or herself from it. It is a way of giving you opportunity to explain yourself whether you actually did this thing for which you are accused. But now we are talking about health matters here. And I think this is being handled. The last court sitting we had, his lawyer was asked a committee from the DSS to audit, his health, and then the NBA to audit his health, and then they report, back to the court to see if he could be released or if he cannot take treatment in Nigeria. But this protest on the 28th of this month, I guess, I learned is being faced. Well, Atiku has called for Peter Obi to join suit. It's not mandatory. Everybody has their right. Peter Obi can decide to back the protest or decide not to back the protest. Even Southeastern governors can also decide to, but we are not going to back it because everybody has their own way of reasoning and the way of doing things. So they may decide not to come in, but that does not mean that the protest should not continue. It should be on record that there was a protest by Shore over this, some Nigerians came forward and supported to call for his release, because a time will come when a lot of Nigerians will be asked, when this agitator was arrested and detained, what did you do? What was your role to ensure that he was released? Because Nnamdi Kanu is not the first to be arrested and detained this way. Shore has also suffered this, but not as long as this. The Yoruba nation leader has also suffered this. Many Nigerians have suffered this. And after Nnamdi Kanu and after Shore, more Nigerians will rise because there must be demand from the system for certain things to change.
And that's very interesting that you said that. So let's move now to INEC. 2027 is coming up, and we're seeing that a new INEC chair has been typically appointed. What's your take? Do you see him embodying integrity, accountability, transparency, all of the hopes of Nigerians ahead of a free, hopefully free, fair, credible election come 2027?
Yeah, naturally, that seems to be the words of Mr. President, why he has chosen him. Integrity, transparency, neutrality, and all of that. Well, we thank him. This has happened, and we have to congratulate Amubi Tan on his appointment as the new INEC chairman. And I think he needs to learn from the immediate past INEC chairman and ensure that he improves on those things that were never achieved by the previous administration at the INEC. So we are now watching him. He's on the watch list. He is now in the public glare. People will talk about him. Not spoken to the media. They're waiting to hear from him and his commitment, how he's going to transform and change INEC. So we congratulate him and we welcome him on board. And his appointment has been ratified by the Council of States. So I think that he should go and ensure that Nigerians are not disappointed. He has less than 2 years, to the general elections in 2027. He must do everything humanly possible to ensuring that he performs the duties of his office, conducts a credible election for Nigerians, and ensure that the level playing ground is given to every candidate ahead of and during the election.
All right, Nigerian Tribune now, lower corner, knocks for Tinubu APC over Naji. Tinubu should prosecute Naji, according to the ex-VP Atiku Abubakar, and a PDP seeks probe on more people. What's your take on these reactions that have trailed the recent resignation of the former Minister of Science, Innovation and Technology? Do you join them in these thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's important that he resigns. At least he has saved the integrity of his family to an extent, because when all of these matters are going on, his children will definitely walk up to and say, Daddy, did you forge your certificate? That question alone will put him in a position that shame will not let him sleep. So having resigned, I don't think Tinubu should be the one to prosecute, his ex-minister. I think there are agencies of government that are responsible for this. I don't know whether this falls between the purview of the Code of Conduct Bureau. Otherwise, I think that the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice may have a role to play here. Even the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, I even believe that maybe sometime by now you would have been arrested for some of these issues, but all of these are not happening. So I think the relevant agencies of government should do what they needed to do and ensure that the right thing is done. This is just to serve as deterrent to other people who may want to use fake certificates and seek appointments into positions of trust and responsibility in the country. And I think that all other members of the Federal Executive Council should be subjected to trial in such a way that their certificate should be verified by their various institutions, so that we don't have those who never passed their exams, those who never graduated, leading us. If Unaji had just presented to the Senate and the presidency his senior school certificate, that would have been sufficient, because it's even enough. A lot of people who have been president of this country don't even have a senior school certificate. So if he had only relied on that, by today he wouldn't have been where he is. But he claimed what he never had, from what we have heard from University of Nigeria and Suka, and that is why he's in this current mess.
Now, another organization away from Tinubu is also asking the Enugu Attorney General to prosecute the ex-minister Naji. If you don't think it's the president's place to prosecute the ex-minister, do you think it is then in the place of the Enugu Attorney General to do that?
No, I don't see the Enugu Attorney General prosecuting the ex-minister, because the ex-minister was never in the employment of the Enugu state government. So they have no right over him. The only institution in Enugu that can prosecute, Naji is the University of Nigeria, Suka, for claiming to prosecute him after he got the certificate that he paraded. It is only UNN that can prosecute him. So if UNN cannot or doesn't want to prosecute him, I don't think that the Enugu state government has right to prosecute him. So I think they should go and rest. But putting this matter in such a way that they are saying that the Attorney General of Enugu State is supposed to be, then what Naji was alleging, that his travail was as a result of the involvement and participation of the Enugu state government and governor. Then they are trying to affirm what he said. So I don't think they have any hand in prosecuting him. He has committed no crime against the Enugu state government. He committed a crime against the Federal Republic of Nigeria and, of course, the federal government of Nigeria and the UNN. So these are people that should come in. There is no need for Enugu state, that he was never in their employment, to prosecute him.
Okay, Nigerian Tribune, Ekiti, Governor Primary, APC disqualifies Kayode Ojo, sacks Enugu State Working Committee to conduct public hearing for amendments of party constitution. Yes, it's been in the news, right? So I want to get your take on what's happening in APC. Revamping their quarters, right? What could actually be cooking? What could, from a permutation, what will we be expecting in days to come? APC reorganizing their affair. What could actually be happening?
OG is all about 2027. That is the preparation for 2027. They are trying to re-strengthen their structure, rejig their structure, put things in place, ensure that all the working committees and all the state executive council members are all in place ahead of 2027. So they are trying to reshuffle, put things together, and be on the right track ahead of 2027. And doing it this early is very important, so that certain crises and court cases does not affect the activities of the parties ahead of 2027. Remember, sometimes in 2019 in Rivers State, APC had issue to the extent that court cases never allowed them to file candidates, not one candidate at any level from Rivers State under APC. So they are trying to avoid this in other states of the Federation and then prepare for the 2027 general election. So it is the election they are preparing for here. And I think the PDP and other political parties should borrow from a lead from them and follow suit to put their houses together ahead of the elections. Also,
let's bring it down to Enugu State right here, because, from the grapevine, we're hearing too that maybe the governor probably might be porting, right, to APC. Who knows, by the way. And bringing this to just what happened to Uche Naji, do you think there's a tie to this, by the way? All this while he's been loud about the structure in Enugu State, and apparently somehow, some sort, it's been dismantled. Do you think Or do you see or foresee that maybe there's a connect here, and that's the reason why this whole revamping of the APC Cadre Committee being emerging at this point in time, which is being head by their APC chair in Enugu State at this point in time? Do you think that maybe somehow this is even the reason why, to clear the road and make everything seamless for the governor to come in with his structure?
Definitely. Your last words, Audrey, I've just said what I wanted to start with. So the reorganization of the APC in the state is to prepare ground for those that the governor wants to be in charge of the party before he comes in to be in place. This is an allegation. We are alleging this, that these are the plans. And then when this has been done now, the governor will not be comfortable to move in. Look, let me tell you, we have complained about the APC working towards a one-party state in Nigeria. This is what we are having. More people, more governors are going to defect ahead of 2027 general election. So all of this arrangement now is to put in place certain persons that will be favorable to the governor, listen to the governor, and the governor will be comfortable with ahead of the defection that is being planned. The same thing happened in, I think, Akwa Ibom State and in Rivers State today. We are also seeing this kind of preparations going in underground. All of these things are in place. But to a very large extent, it is all about preparing grounds for the coming in of the governor that is being rumored that was going to happen. The same way the Akwa Ibom State and governorship and governor was rumored to be preparing for APC and a potential one. So the APC is shopping for governors across the country to ensure that by 2027 they have more majority governors in their fold to support, fund their elections, and of course help Mr. President to win. So they are preparing for this, and that is what they are having.
All right, quite interesting. Now, still on the wave of defections from the People's Democratic Party to other parties, predominantly the All Progressives Congress, we're seeing a PDP stalwart stakeholders say that we've gone through this path before, we're not disturbed. What's your take? PDP is not deterred despite the number of defections that we've seen in recent times. Should they be deterred, or is this some kind of political statement and optimism?
I think they should be deterred, they should be worried, and these comments are just consolation comments, just to console themselves. Every one person that defects from the PDP drags the PDP away from the center, drags them from the center of politics, drags them from being able to win the presidential election in 2027. So every crisis in the PDP drags them away from that center. So they need to be worried, because it is important for them to put their house together and then try as much as they can to ensure that they are gathering momentum ahead of the election. But these centrifugal and centripetal forces that drag the PDP to the center, drag away from the center, is dragging them more away from the center, and that is going to affect them greatly. You know, there is one thing with these political parties. No matter how they are draining, they are going down the drain, and the center cannot hold. They still make certain comments that give their supporters hope, that give them hope, believing that something good will come out of the process. The point here is that if the PDP does not take time, in the 2027 general election, they are not going to come out as the second runner-up. They are not going to come out as the second runner-up. They are likely going to come up as the third runner-up. I think that was even the way they came out in the 2020 election. After the APC winning, you have, Labour Party. Okay, you have them through Atiku Abubakar before you have the Labour Party. So if they are not careful this time, they are going to come either third or fourth, because the ADC coalition should not be taken for granted as well. And they are even getting stronger than the PDP. So the PDP must work hard to put their houses together as a party that has led this country for 16 consecutive years.
Are you convinced, let's just go back a bit, are you convinced of the commencement of Army Britain? People are calling out the president that went to the North Central, right, Kogi. You didn't say Gala, you didn't say Bira, and he's a Yoruba man that you selected or appointed actually as the INEC chair. Are you convinced that he would literally work for the interests of Nigerians, by the way, not the interests of the APC, that this individual would be apolitical in coming elections or steering the INEC institution?
Yeah, Audrey, I think the onus lies on this very man to try to prove himself to Nigerians, because he's a professor and a professor of law, and someone that Mr. President has described as having integrity, someone that Mr. President has said that his selection is on a neutral ground, neutrality. So I think he needs to work to prove some of these words. Now, a lot of people were saying that at least a Southerner, to a very large extent, should have been selected this time, because we have had a guy coming from the north. We had Mahmoud that just left coming from that way too, and then now you have North Central also producing now. So I think he should live to some of these words, and then try to ensure that he proves his integrity and the confidence that has been reposed in him, because we are now at crossroads in this country. What Nigerians are asking for are not too many. Just ensure that the people's vote counts. Ensure that the electronic system that has been introduced to the electoral process work, and election results can be transmitted electronically on election day. If all of these things are put in place and candidates can have a level playing ground, even if Mr. President had appointed his son, Sheyi, to become the INEC chairman, and the system is allowed to work, and Nigeria, look, he can still lose the election or still probably win the election. As we speak in the United States of America today, if Trump appoints even his son to be the head of the electoral body, the way the system is working, he wouldn't even give Trump an added advantage. So that is the kind of system we should have here. No matter how he's from Yoruba or from Middle Belt or where, I think that we should ensure that the Constitution and the Electoral Act are the guiding principles of ensuring that election is conducted in a free, fair, and credible manner, with the level playing ground given to all parties to the election, and then we allow what comes out of it as what people will assess.
Dr. Fyneface, really interesting analysis this morning. Great points that you've raised. Of course, we look forward to having you again when we reconvene sometime next week. I just like how you strategically break down everything into the finest detail. Thank you, Dr. Fyneface.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. Have a great weekend ahead.
You too. Yeah.
Happy
and you as well. Make sure you go to the bank.
Sure, on my phone.
Oh, you can use USSD and apps.
Right, use the app on your phone. All right, Dr. Fyneface, we'll catch up with you again sometime next week. The morning show returns in just seconds, and when we come back, we'll be looking at what some energetic youth in Ebonyi State are doing about the treatment, as they described, of the Dave Umahi during an interview on Arise Television. They are apparently hurling insults, more or less, or anger, more or less, at how he was handled and treated by Arise News anchor Rufai Oseni. They don't appreciate some of the questions that the Dave Umahi was asked. The morning show returns in seconds. Stay tuned.